Good afternoon, students. I hope I'm clearly audible. Some thumbs up. Some thumbs up if I'm able to. Okay, thank you, thank you. And may I request all of you to please ask your friends to join in. And if somebody is facing a problem, means they have to log in through any of their Gmail account. Okay, so I have not allowed anonymous joining here. Anybody joining through any Gmail account will be able to join in. So if somebody is facing problem, ask them to follow this. Thank you. We'll be starting in next 2 to 3 minutes. By the time, just wait. Okay, let's start the class. I will allow anyone who wish to switch on the video, and in the meantime, I will also do that. Okay. So, do I have somebody from group 5 here? Do I have somebody from group 5? Can you please raise your hand? Anybody from group 5? Anybody from group 5 is here? I just want to inform that from group 5 to 8, all of you are having DTPS at the same time. Okay, if group 5 is having any issue in their timetable, they should immediately contact the timetable coordinator. Okay, from 5, 6, 7, 8, all the 4 groups will have DTPS at the same time, because I'm already occupied on Wednesday and Friday with DTPS of first, second, and third, fourth group. So you can't join with them. They are quite ahead with from your point of view. They have already completed assignment 1. One module has been finished. We are midway to second module. Okay. Okay, you can switch on Om. You can switch on the video, and I have also allowed you to unmute. Om Pratik.
Sir, actually, group 5, they are having their maths class. Physics class, sorry. They are having their physics
That's
class.
That's why I'm telling. Just ask them to check with their timetable coordinator. They have to inform them. As per my, because I am not available on Wednesday or Friday. I am already having classes. Okay. So from 5, 6, and 7, 8, I agree to take all the 4 group as one, and I have time only on Thursday from 3 to 5. Okay. So ask some of from the group 5 to immediately meet their timetable coordinator. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So let's start the class now. Anybody who wants to interact, share something before we formally start the class. So do we have anybody from group 6, 7, and 8? I want to interact with each one of the group. Can we have somebody from group 6? Om, are you from group 6? Om?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You are from group 6?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. No issues. Then I will request somebody from group 7 and 8 to raise your hand. I need to have a small chit chat with you. Anybody from group 7 and 8, please raise your hand and I will allow you to unmute. And in the meantime, you can switch on the video. Anybody from group 7 and 8? Om, you can lower your hand in the meantime. Okay. Go ahead. Madhu Smita has raised a hand and I have allowed you to unmute. You can switch on your video and we can interact now. Please go ahead, Bida. I have allowed you to unmute. Switch on the video and then we can interact. I need someone from group 7 and 8 to come on video so that we can have a small chit chat. Group 7. Do we have anybody from group 7? Okay, Anshu Bhardwaj. Go ahead, Anshu. You can switch on the video, please. I have allowed you to unmute, Anshu, and in the meantime, you can also switch on the video.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, please tell.
Yes, sir. I'm Anshu Bhardwaj from Group 7.
Group 7. So I just want to check. As per your timetable, you have DTPS class now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. I just want to confirm because group 6 is having it, group 7 is having it. Thank you. Anybody from group 8? Can you please switch on the video and come in here? You can raise your hand and I will allow you to unmute. Okay, Ankit Mishra, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ankit. Are you from group 8?
Yes, sir, I'm from Group 8, sir.
So can you please confirm that as per your timetable, you have DTPS class now?
Just a minute, sir. I'll be checking, sir. Yes, sir. We have on Thursday from 2:50 to 4:40, sir.
Exactly. The same should be there for group 5 as well. So if you have any friends in group 5, please ask them to immediately contact the timetable coordinator. In the meantime, after the class, I will also have a word with them. But it's better somebody from that group should go and talk, because for me, I have slot for all the group from 5 to 8.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
Ankit?
Okay,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you. So I welcome you to this second class of design thinking and problem solving. So give me a second. I'm getting a lot of query that many of you are facing problem in attending the Zoom. So can someone help? Can someone help the friend? I will wait for last 2 minutes. See, I have enabled that a formal Zoom login will allow. So you have to log in through Zoom. Okay. You have to take any Gmail or something. It's not like clicking a link and joining with any name. Because being a formal class, I want you to log in through any official email. It can be your personal Gmail or CGU Gmail, but it will help me to check who is joining the class. So that's why I have enabled that security feature here. So nobody anonymously can come in and join my class. So if few of your friends are facing problem, just ask them to join in through any account. Okay, Ankit, go ahead.
Sir, one of our friend, he's having problem to join in, sir. It always asks him to join, sign in, and
So
to
you have to
collect
sign
email,
in
sir.
through Gmail. Sign in through Gmail and then click. See what happens,
Okay,
Zoom
sir.
has allowed you to join anonymous also, but I have not allowed that in this meeting. Okay, so ask
Okay, sir.
that person to join in through Gmail. Whenever you click on Zoom, there is an option, log in through Gmail. Join that option and then that will be fine for that person.
Okay, sir.
Okay, please try that. We'll wait for next 2 minutes so that those who are facing problems should also come in. Okay, are we through with all the problems? See, I would request you to use login through Google or something, that it will help you, because then you need not to remember the password and all. Maybe the caps are on or something. So let's start the class. We should not wait so much because we already started late with this group. Okay, let's start the class. I welcome you to the second class of design thinking and problem solving. Let me share my screen with all of you. So today, from this class onwards, we try to set the context for this course. Okay, when we say, okay, before I start, let me get a confirmation from a few of you. I hope you are able to see the screen. Some thumbs ups. Great, thank you. So what we are going to do, we are trying to find out what will be our strategy uh, to be adopted throughout this course. What will be our goals, priorities, and all. Okay, Asta Gupta has raised a hand. Asta, what happened? Okay, by mistake you done that. No issues. So what will be our goals, priorities, how we can utilize time and use the resources and all. So let's go ahead and see that. So far what we have covered is the course content. What will be the marks distribution in this course? Assignment 1, 2, 3, end semester project report and end semester presentation, and 10 marks for year research and innovation participations. Okay, and also we talked about the team distribution, which we agreed to have it through roll number wise. I'm occupied with some other activities, so I will be doing it by Saturday. So by Saturday, I will be sharing the team details. And how I'm going to do that? I will be sharing one Google Drive space, and that link will be provided in our official WhatsApp group. So the description of our official WhatsApp group will have a G Drive link, Google Drive link. Once you click that folder, you will have all the information related to design thinking, including the syllabus, marks, distribution, team sharing and all, along with whatever presentation I'm showing in this and the class recordings and all. Everything will be available on the G Drive space. So it is my humble request to all of you to frequently visit to that G Drive space. Okay. So I hope your day was fantastic today. I will be sharing the G Drive space very soon, so I'm not going to ask this. And also, since we have yet not finalized a team, so I'm making it through that you have yet to meet your team. So by Saturday, you will get the team distribution, and at the same time, by the time I will be sharing the G Drive space, I have made it for group 1 to 4, but they are quite ahead than that. So if I don't want to directly share that information with you because it is having much more than what we have covered in the course. So let's go ahead. So today what we are going to target is this. First, what is problem solving? What is the science of thinking? And then home activity 1 and home activity 2, I will be sharing with you. And then we will talk about case study, provided we reach up to that. I don't know whether we will reach up to that point or not. Otherwise, I will be sharing some case study as well. So what is problem solving? Anybody? What is problem solving? In your understanding, what is problem solving? Please raise your hand and I will allow you to unmute. No need to switch on the video. I am taking the rights away, so you need not be an issue in that. I am taking the rights away. So you can raise your hand and share your view. It's not an exam. I just want to hear from my students that what they think about problem solving. Before I show you a very interesting video here. Anybody? Yeah, Anurag. Yeah, Anurag Raj, go ahead.
Sir, what I believe problem solving is breaking down a problem to small and small pieces until it cannot be broken down further and then trying to find a solution.
Fantastic, fantastic. Good insight. Anybody else who wants to add to what Anurag has said? Feel free to come in. I just want to understand what do you mean. We all know what is problem solving. I just want you to express it. Anybody else? And thank you, Anurag, for being a part of this interaction. Let's hear from some of your friends as well. I don't want to call names. I want it to come voluntarily. Okay, Swam Prasad Sahu, fantastic. Go ahead, Swam.
Sir, it's like finding solution of a given task.
Finding solution of a given task. Fair enough. Fantastic. Anybody else? We'll take last two input, then I will show you the video. Last two input. Who wants to come second last? And then we'll go with the last. Swam, I would request you to kindly lower your hand, please. Thank you. Who wants to come next? Feel free to come in. Jayant Kumar. Fantastic. Go ahead, Jayant.
Sir, solving problems related to any queries.
So solving problem related to any query. Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Then we have Nivedita Panda. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Yeah, please go ahead, beta. Please go ahead.
The problem solving is nothing but taking some major problem and trying to solve the problem, to making it easier.
Making it easier. Okay, fair enough. Fantastic, fantastic. So
Thank you, sir.
let's see a very interesting video here, and it is nothing new, but just to give you an idea about what problem solving actually means. I totally agree. Whatever has been shown in this video is what we all know.
Problem solving.
A small feedback. I hope you are able to see the video and hear it clearly. Some thumbs ups. Great, great, Abhinav. Thank you, thank you. So let's go ahead.
Is a method teachers can use to guide students through any kind of problem. There are 4 steps to problem solving. Define the problem, make a plan, put the plan into action, and check the result. As an example, you'll see how these ants use the 4 steps. The first step is to clearly define the problem. To understand what the goal is and what is keeping you from reaching that goal. The ants want to move this cookie into their anthill, but it's too big to fit. The second step is to make a plan for solving the problem. This step includes talking about information and ideas that will be helpful. The ants decide to break the cookie into small pieces and move them into their anthill. The third step is to put the plan into action. They break up the cookie and move the pieces. And the fourth step is to check the result. It looks like it's working. Sometimes the plan does not solve the problem. For example, this piece is still too big to fit. But that's okay. The 4 steps may need to be done more than once. It's an ongoing process until a solution is found. Define the problem. Make a plan. Put the plan into action and check the result.
So after seeing this video, I think this is what we always do. And this design thinking will help you to plan for these 4 steps. Design thinking will help you to understand the problem better, to make the problem to solve the real issue, and also make a plan which will give something innovation, some which challenge the assumptions and which provide an edge over your competitor. And also design thinking will help you to get a feedback and improve on your own solution. So we still focus on problem solving, but we use our design thinking tools to solve a problem in a better way. Okay. Second is science of thinking. So before I show you another very interesting video, let me hear from you. What is thinking means to you? Raise your hand and I would be very happy to hear from you. What is thinking means to you? Anybody? Feel free to come in. See, this is not a formal math class where faculty is coming with some big theorem and all. It's all hands-on. Yes, Swayam, go ahead.
Sir, it's a virtual way of solving a problem.
Okay, fair enough. Let's hear from Tanmay.
Sir, rapid connections of neurons, sir.
Rapid connection, very technical, but it's fantastic. Good, Tanmay, good. Anybody else? And I would request Swayam and Tanmay to kindly lower your hand. Thank you. Let's hear from Prerna. Go ahead, Prerna.
Considering something.
I think you had some audio issue. Can you please come again? And Prerna, you just keep yourself unmute. Go ahead, Prerna. One more time.
Considering something.
Consulting something. Okay, fair enough. Jayant Kumar Chaudhary. Go ahead, Jayant.
So mental processes that make sense of our experience.
Mental processes that make sense of our experience. Very, very deep. Great, great. Let's hear from Srimanta.
Sir, might be a form of imagination.
Form of imagination. Very good, Srimanta. Now I got my team. I want people like this. Srimanta, fantastic. I will recall your name very often, Srimanta. Fantastic. Let's hear from Aparna. And I would request those who already answered, kindly lower your hand. That will be good for me to manage. Go ahead,
Sir,
Aparna.
ideas or opinions?
Ideas and opinion. Fantastic. Very simple and crisp. Let's hear from Anshu. Then I will show you one very interesting thing. Anshu, go ahead.
So using mind to take some decision.
Using mind to take decision. Oh, very straightforward. Fantastic. Let's hear from Dikshita, and Pooja will be the last. Okay? No more hands raised up. Go ahead, Dikshita. Okay, I will allow you to unmute. Go ahead, Dikshita.
So knowledge seeking.
Knowledge seeking. Okay, fair enough. I could see one more hands were raised up. I was waiting for you. I think that girl's name was Pooja. Yeah, Pooja. Go ahead. Go ahead, Pooja.
Sir, analyzing a particular situation and hovering our brains to it.
Analyzing a particular situation, hovering over it. Fantastic. I think you have summarized well, Pooja. Fantastic. So let me show you a very interesting video, and this YouTube channel is one of my favorite. And I would personally recommend you to subscribe to this. Though its video is sometimes quite intellectual, but I would request you to please see that their videos quite frequently. So let me show you the science of thinking with the help of this video.
For most of us, thinking is at least somewhat unpleasant. We try to avoid it where possible. For example, I asked these guys, how long does it take for the Earth?
Again, just to check, I hope you're able to hear it clearly. Great. So let's hear it from the beginning.
For most of us, thinking is at least somewhat unpleasant. We try to avoid it where possible. For example, I asked these guys, how long does it take for the Earth to go around the Sun?
What do you reckon, cuz? Is it 24 hours? Obviously a day, yes.
Or take this problem, which has been given to thousands of college students. You go into a toy store, and there's a toy bat and a toy ball. Together they cost $1.10. And the bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost?
10 cents. We're all wrong, aren't we?
What's the answer? If you think about it for just a second, it's obvious that the ball can't cost 10 cents. Because if it did, then the bat would cost $1.10 and the two items together would cost $1.20. The correct answer is 5 cents. Now the point of these questions is not that they're difficult. Any of these people could have quickly checked their answer if they wanted to. The point is that they don't check. Because thinking is uncomfortable. It takes effort.
Hey, the Earth doesn't take one day to get around the Sun. It takes like a year.
Now I think it would be easy to put these mistakes down to stupidity and believe that you, being much smarter, could never fall into such traps. But then I think you'd be fooling yourself. I think these examples reveal blind spots in all of our thinking due to the fundamental way that our brains work. Now, one way of modeling how the brain operates is as though there are two systems at work. Psychologists call them System 1 and System 2, but maybe it's useful to think of them as characters. So let's call System 1 Gun and System 2 Drew. You are Drew. He represents your conscious thought, the voice in your head.
I am who you think you are.
He's the one capable of following instructions. He can execute a series of steps. If you're asked to calculate 13 times 17 in your head, for example, he's the one who has to do it.
Can I just use my calculator?
No.
All right. 17 times...
Drew is lazy. It takes effort to get Drew to do anything, and he is slow. But he's the careful one, capable of catching and fixing mistakes.
221.
Now meet System 1, Gun. He is incredibly quick, which he needs to be since he's constantly processing copious amounts of information coming in through your senses. He picks out the relevant bits and discards the rest, which is most of it. And he works automatically, without you, Drew, being consciously aware of what he is doing. For example, when you spot some text, he reads it before you can even decide whether or not you want to read it. Gun fills in the gaps. For example, what does this say? Did you notice that the H in the and the A in cat are actually the same symbol? But you had no trouble reading it because Gun made the correct automatic assumption. So although Drew is unaware of what Gunn is doing, it's Gunn's perceptions that become the basis for your conscious thoughts. The way I like to think of it, each of these characters is related to one of your main memory structures. Gunn's automatic responses are made possible by long-term memory, the library of experiences you've built up over your lifetime. In contrast, Drew exists entirely within working memory, so he's only capable of holding 4 or 5 novel things in mind at a time. This is perhaps one of the best known findings from psychology, that our capacity to hold and manipulate novel information is incredibly limited, like when trying to remember a string of random numbers.
6, 7, 5, 5, 3, 1.
Yes! But we are able to overcome these limitations if the information is familiar to us. For example, let me give you 4 random digits, 7, 1, 0, 2. Now these would normally take up most of your working memory capacity just to remember, but if you reverse them, 2017, they are now just one thing, the present year. The process of grouping things together according to your prior knowledge is called chunking, and you can actually hold 4 or 5 chunks in working memory at once. So the larger the chunks, the more information you can actively manipulate at one time. Learning is then the process of building more and bigger chunks by storing and further connecting information in long-term memory, essentially passing off tasks from Drew to Gunn. But in order for this to happen, Drew first has to engage with the information actively and effortfully, often multiple times. For example, when you were first learning to tie your shoelaces, you probably recited a rhyme to help you remember what to do next, using up all your working memory in the process. But after doing it over and over and over again, it gradually became automatic. That is, Drew doesn't have to think about it anymore because Gunn's got it. Musicians and sports stars refer to this as muscle memory, though of course the memory is not in the muscles, it's still in the brain, just controlled by Gunn.
You can practice everything exactly as it is and exactly as it's written, but at just such a speed that you have to think about and know exactly where you are and what your fingers are doing and what it feels like.
Slow, deliberate, conscious practice repeated often enough leads to this. I bet 99% of the time what appears to be superhuman ability comes down to the incredible automation skills of Gunn, developed through the painstaking, deliberate practice of Drew. What's interesting is it's actually possible to see how hard Drew is working just by looking at someone. Try this task. I'm going to show you 4 digits. I want you to read them out loud, and then after 2 beats, I want you to say each number back on the beat, but adding 1 to each digit. So as an example, 7291 should be 8302. This is called the add 1 task, and it forces Drew to hold these digits in memory while making manipulations to them. Now it's important to say the numbers back on the beat. Try this one. To make it harder, you can try adding 3 instead of 1. Ready? Now what you're unaware of is that as you're completing this task, your pupils are dilating. When Drew is hard at work, as he is in this task, you have a physiological response, including increased heart rate, sweat production, and pupil dilation. Watch how the pupils of these participants enlarge as they perform the add 1 and add 3 tasks.
4, 3, 9, 7, 2. 5, 4, 0, 8, 3.
Excellent. Nicely done.
Requires a lot of thinking.
I know. That's the point.
6, 9, 1, 6. 7, 0, 2, 7.
When this research was originally carried out, the researchers made a surprising observation. When the participants were not engaged with the task but were just chatting with the experimenters, their pupils didn't really dilate at all. This indicates that the add 1 and add 3 tasks are particularly strenuous for System 2, and that most of our day-to-day life is a stroll for Drew, with most tasks handled automatically by Gunn. Just as we spend a lot of our lives lounging around, our brains spend most of their time doing the mental equivalent. And I don't mean to make that sound like a bad thing. This is how our brains evolved to make the best use of resources. For repetitive tasks, we developed automatic ways of doing things, reserving Drew's limited capacity for things that really need our attention. But in some circumstances, there can be mix-ups. For example, I moved to Australia in 2004, and one of the first things I learned was that to turn the lights on, you flick the switch down. My whole life growing up in Canada, Gun had automated that up means on. So no matter how well I, Drew, knew that down was on in Australia, I would for years continually switch the lights off when entering a room and on when leaving. When Destin learned to ride the backwards bicycle with its steering reversed, it took months to overcome his automated habit. And once he had done that, he couldn't easily go back to riding a normal bike. Understanding Gun and Drew also explains errors in the bat and ball question. It's Gun who first perceives the key pieces of information, that together the bat and ball cost $1.10, the bat costs $1 more than the ball, so the ball costs 10 cents. 10 cents. Gun immediately had an answer that he blurted out automatically. Meanwhile, Drew, without being consciously aware that the answer came from Gun, endorsed the idea without checking it. After all, the answer sounded reasonable and Drew is lazy. So how do you get Drew to do more work? Well, researchers have found at least one way. When they gave out a clearly printed test, including the bat and ball question to incoming college students, 85% got at least one wrong. But when they printed the test in a hard-to-read font with poor contrast, the error rate dropped to 35%. A harder-to-read test resulted in more correct answers. And the explanation for this is simple. Since Gun can't quickly jump to an answer, he hands off the task to Drew, who then invests the required mental effort to reason his way to the correct answer. When something is confusing, Drew works harder, and when Drew works harder, you're more likely to reach the right answer and remember the experience. This is something I think the advertising industry knows about and is using to its advantage. A few years ago, again in Australia, I saw a giant billboard that had just 2 letters on it. Un. There was no logo, no indication of what it was for, and this seems to go against all the basic principles of advertising, to show what the product does, how it's better than the competition, and use clear branding and maybe a jingle to make it memorable. The goal is usually to make the message as easy to understand as possible, so Drew doesn't have to work very hard. But if you look at a lot of effective advertising today, it's changed to be more confusing. As the Un campaign rolled out across Sydney, I saw ads like this one in bus shelters. Unexplained. With Un, there is no stress, just unstress. No hassle, just unhassle. With Un, you can undo what you did. You can undrive through the car wash with the window down, or unbreakdance in front of your teenage son and his mates. Un makes life relaxing and unreal. Un your life. Be happy and live for now. Don't worry, unworry. Can you guess what the ads were for? They're actually for insurance. Now that advertising is everywhere, Gun is skilled at filtering it out. It's automatic. If I just saw another insurance ad, I never would have given it a second thought. But something that doesn't make sense? That's something Gun can't deal with, so he hands it off to Drew. This same realization has been happening in education. Lectures, which have long been the dominant teaching method, are now on the decline. Like the old form of advertising, they're too easy to tune out. And often, especially in science lectures, too many new pieces of information are presented, and that exceeds Drew's capacity because he doesn't have big enough chunks to break the material into. In place of lectures, universities are introducing workshops, peer instruction, and formats where students are forced to answer more questions, do more work than just listen and take notes. And this will undoubtedly make Drew work harder, which is good because that's how learning happens. But a lot of students don't like it because it requires more effort. Just as it's hard to motivate someone to get off the couch and exercise, it's hard to get Drew to give his full effort. There's an appeal to doing things you already know, for the musician to play the same familiar songs that Gun has already automated that feel and sound good, to watch videos that give you the sensation of understanding without actually learning anything, to always drive with the GPS on so you never get lost but you also never learn the way. If you really want to learn and get better at anything, have any chance of becoming an expert, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. Because thinking takes effort. It involves fighting through confusion, and for most of us, that's at least somewhat unpleasant.
So, this is what I'm going to do here. I want you to start thinking. We suppose that we are thinking, but we are not. We are totally dependent on our Gun, subconscious mind. We are not putting our conscious mind into effort. So the design thinking will help you. We know how to solve a problem, we know the steps, but unless we start thinking consciously, you are not going to get anything innovative out of it. All the routine Gun output will come on based on your previous inputs. Okay, so before I summarize, let me get some feedback here. Anybody who wants to agree or we can say disagree to what has been shared in this video? Any comment? Because then I'm going to summarize what we have seen in this video. Anybody? Any comment on this video? You can even say, yes, sir, I agree, and this is what I also feel, or maybe something new I have heard. Now I will put my Drew into work. My conscious mind has to be put into work, or many other things. Feel free to come in. Again, I'm making you uncomfortable. I don't want that just to see this online class and don't contribute. Please come in here. Raise your hand. Who wants to come first? I don't want to call the names. I hope I'm clearly audible. I hope I'm clearly audible. Few thumbs ups. Okay, now feel free to come in here. Say something. Raise your hand and say something regarding the video. The science of thinking. Biswaswarup. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. The video in the video, what the host is saying that it is very true. Most of the time, our brain is empty, and we are using the very small part of our brain to think and do something. So,
Yes,
if
and we are
we,
normally depending on our subconscious mind only. Routine things.
yes, sir.
Fantastic. Very good. Very good. Let's hear from Swapnadipta Mishra. Go ahead, Swapnadipta.
Yes, sir. The video is very true, sir. Most of the time, we basically use our subconscious mind only to do lots of work and do not depend on the conscious side of our brain.
Fantastic. Fantastic. One last input, then I am going to share mine because this is what the base of our whole course. Vivek. Go ahead, Vivek.
Sir, the video was totally agree, perfect because it's the same like what we studied last day before exam.
Exactly. Very good insight, Vivek. So what I want, we know how to solve a problem, but I want to push you for thinking. I will design the way you think so that you should get something innovative. Because if you keep on using your subconscious mind based on your previously fed data, then only obvious solutions will come in. And design thinking is to create innovation. Creativity should come on, something very innovative should come on. You should be able to challenge the assumptions. For that, you have to come out of your subconscious thought and bring your conscious mind into action. Yeah, I would see Tanmay wants to say something. Go ahead, Tanmay.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask you, sir, what is the difference between subconscious mind and unconscious mind processes?
Not unconscious mind. Unconscious, we should not say that because it is something when you having some say drugs or something. Maybe you during operation when you have been drugged, or maybe you have used some other chemicals that will make you unconscious. Unconscious means, in a very layman language, when you just fell on the ground, when you are not conscious. But what I could get from you is that conscious and subconscious means our mind has two categories. One, where we push ourselves to think, learn something new data has been fed up, we analyze that data, and based on that data we try to practice something. And once it is got practiced, that will go into our subconscious mind. Then we need not to refer to the data again and again. We keep on doing that. You might have seen that if you're coming to your home regularly, you know the while and entering you just have to open the room, take the key and put that key somewhere else. You don't remember that is, but whenever you go there, you find the key there. That happens to me also because that thing has subconsciously been trained. So when I enter my room, I put my car key there, I put my shoes there, but I don't recall when I did that. So Tanmay, that is what. But unconscious, I don't bless you with that. Unconscious means something when you're in the effect of some chemical, if you become unconscious, which nobody wants anybody to do that. But subconscious, we are having a subconscious mind. We can say a mind which has been trained based on the conscious mind. But the moment your mind get trained, our conscious mind say, I'm going for chutti. This is what happens. And that is the reason why we don't get some very innovative solutions in our country. Because we very conveniently go to chutti. The moment we got trained on something, maybe in your CS you may train on cloud, maybe in mechanical you may train on mechatronics, robotics, CFD or any other topic, maybe in we can say electronic, you go for VLS or anything. The moment you get trained, You put it into your subconscious mind and you stop thinking. And unless you put your conscious mind into work, you are not going to get anything new out of that. So Tanmay, you want to say something? Any further? Or do you agree to that? Because I could see your hand raised up still. You can go ahead and share something. Go ahead, Tanmay.
Sometimes people become hyperactive with the use of drugs in their unconscious state, sir. That's what I'm asking, sir.
Oh, you are talking about that. Oh, no. What you are saying is that you are just, see, I don't want to say this, but even if somebody has that kind of experience, in that you only do the routine thing. You don't do the new thing during that drug condition. This happens. Just like, that's why we say don't drink and drive. Though you become very risk taking after drinking, you may try to just fly like you said no, I can do anything, but you know that you don't have control on your mind. So you can't even do the routine thing very carefully, because now your mind is not conscious, not subconscious, not conscious. You're going into subconscious, unconscious way. Though you're not fell apart into the ground, but this is what happens. Taking drug to accelerate, you are talking about steroid, that is something else. That your body will get some extra energy, but I don't think that will increase the way your mind thinking. You may enhance your physical capability, but I doubt with the help of drug you may increase your mental capability. I have a doubt on that. Okay, so let's summarize what we have seen here. So thinking requires effort, we all agree. There are two types of mind: conscious mind and subconscious mind. Conscious mind is very strong. It can work independently, but the problem is that it is lazy. So whenever we need anything to be very analytically strong, we have to use our conscious mind, which can work independently, but it is lazy. You have to force your conscious mind to work, just like I have to force you to come on mic and say something. So conscious mind, very analytically strong but lazy. At the same time, whenever you want to work independently, you have to bring your conscious mind into action. What is subconscious mind? Very fast but not analytical. It works as per the training you give with the help of the conscious mind. So what we want, whenever you want to do something new to us, and whenever something new has been posed to you, a new problem has been posed to you, bring your conscious mind into action. Because conscious mind is having ability to think out of the box. Okay, but at the same time, it is reluctant to work in majority of cases. You have to push your conscious mind to work so that you can get something out of the box. Okay, but it doesn't mean that you keep on using your conscious mind, because I'm just going to show after this slide something very interesting, or maybe some people may think it as a controversial, but I will say no, it is what I strongly believe. Conscious mind, very analytical, strong, need to be bring in whenever new task is required, but I don't recommend your conscious mind to be in action all the time. I want learn something new, train your subconscious mind, and leave that activity to your subconscious mind so that you can vacate the space of conscious mind to again learn something new. So whenever you want to do a routine job, use your subconscious mind, and whenever you have learned something new, practice it and hand it over to your subconscious mind. Okay. So let's try this. What I'm going to do, let me have some thumbs ups here. Let's try a very small exercise here. I'm going to show you one video which has one quiz, a challenge to you, and I will pause that video there, and then I will ask you to solve that particular problem, and after that I will check with you how many of you have solved that. Okay, so let's try this.
Taking that internship in a remote mountain lab might not have been the best idea. Pulling that lever with the skull symbol just to see what it did probably wasn't so smart either. But now is not the time for regrets, because you need to get away from these mutant zombies fast. With you are the janitor, the lab assistant, and the old professor. You've gotten a head start, but there's only one way to safety: across an old rope bridge spanning a massive gorge. You can dash across in a minute, while the lab assistant takes 2 minutes. The janitor is a bit slower and needs 5 minutes, and the professor takes a whole 10 minutes, holding onto the ropes every step of the way. By the professor's calculations, the zombies will catch up to you in just over 17 minutes. So you only have that much time to get everyone across and cut the ropes. Unfortunately, the bridge can only hold 2 people at a time. To make matters worse, it's so dark out that you can barely see, and the old lantern you grabbed on your way only illuminates a tiny area. Can you figure out a way to have everyone escape in time? Remember, no more than 2 people can cross the bridge together. Anyone crossing must either hold the lantern or stay right next to it, and any of you can safely wait in the dark on either side of the gorge. Most importantly, everyone must be safely across before the zombies arrive. Otherwise, the first zombie could step on the bridge while people are still on it. Finally, there are no tricks to use here. You can't swing across, use the bridge as a raft, or befriend the zombies.
So I have paused the video. I will give you 2 minutes to find out a way, make your plan. Then I will show the video. You verify the answer in the video, and then we will have a small chit chat to understand how many of you are able to solve it completely. I'm in the participant list. If you are done with your answers, some thumbs ups. So it will give me a hint that it's good to go now. Take your time. 2 big minutes are here. Use your conscious mind. Biswa Saru. Go ahead, Biswa.
Sir, I think the old professor who can cross within 10 minutes and the one who can cross in 5 minutes, they should first
No, so what we will do, Biswa, you just write down the solution with you. I'm totally okay with my students. I take all the student on face value because I have a highest regard to all my students. So you just verify your answer once I show the video, because you are 143 at present, so I may not be able to check all. So I would get an honest feedback from you after seeing the video. Then I will come back to you, and then you have to just confirm whether it is right, wrong. Few yes will come, few no will come. I think that will be fine, Biswa.
Okay, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just hold on. Some thumbs up. I hope it is good to go now. I hope all of you have done your answers with you. Great. Keep your answers with you, and let's see whether it matches with the answer which I'm going to show it now. Push your conscious mind. I know it's lazy. We have to push it for work. Go ahead.
At first, it might seem like no matter what you do, you're just a minute or 2 short of time. But there is a way. The key is to minimize the time wasted by the 2 slowest people by having them cross together. And because you'll need to make a couple of return trips with the lantern, you'll want to have the fastest people available to do so. So, you and the lab assistant quickly run across with the lantern, though you have to slow down a bit to match her pace. After 2 minutes, both of you are across, and you, as the quickest, run back with the lantern. Only 3 minutes have passed. So far, so good. Now comes the hard part. The professor and the janitor take the lantern and cross together. This takes them 10 minutes, since the janitor has to slow down for the old professor, who keeps muttering that he probably shouldn't have given the zombies night vision. By the time they're across, there are only 4 minutes left, and you're still stuck on the wrong side of the bridge. But remember, the lab assistant has been waiting on the other side, and she's the second fastest of the group. So she grabs the lantern from the professor and runs back across to you. Now, with only 2 minutes left, the two of you make the final crossing. As you step on the far side of the gorge, you cut the ropes and collapse the bridge behind you, just in the nick of time. Maybe next summer you'll just stick to the library.
Okay, let's hear from some of you. Sushant. Go ahead, Sushant. I have allowed you, Sushant. Go ahead.
So before you start the video, I'm just running on my video for just a second. Can I just share my video?
Yeah, I will be sharing all this video. I will be sharing all the video.
Before you starting the video, I had just written in my paper regarding all this video, and the way the video show, I had calculated the same way. And starting
Okay,
that.
great. So I hope if you are saying that you have got the right answer, Sushant, it means your conscious mind is in your control.
Yeah, I was just starting with the same thing. I didn't calculate the time that I'll be spending out, but I was calculating as me and assistant studying. So that was correct.
Okay, fantastic. It's good to hear. Anybody who wants to give an honest feedback that he could not be able to solve it? Sushant, can you please lower your hand now? Thank you. So anybody else who wants to come on and say, yes, sir, I could not solve it because Sushant, no. Anybody else who could not solve it because Sushant could solve it? It's fair enough because this is what we are preparing our mind. I know design thinkers always ready to accept the failures. We fail often, but we fail early so that we get a feedback and bring something very innovative out of it. We believe in feedbacks. Anybody? Okay, anybody else who has got the right answers? Let me hear from some of the right answers. Anurag Raj. Go ahead, Anurag. Okay, Anurag, I have allowed you. Go ahead.
Actually, sir, I had already watched this video, so I know the solution.
You have seen that video already?
Yes, I'm a big fan of that talk video.
Oh, great. So that's fantastic. But if you have learned from this that to bring your conscious mind into action, that whole task is done. That is what this video has been included into this class. I wish all my students, because you are going to work in a team, you have to solve a very, very pertinent social issues or maybe some problem posed by one of the hackathon team. You have to solve that problem. To bring something innovative out of it, you have to force your conscious mind into action. Okay. One last feedback from anybody who is honest enough to say, sir, we could not solve it completely. Anybody? So I could expect that all this 139 bright mind have solved this completely. Some thumbs up, sir, we all have solved it. So I will bring that all the conscious minds are in action. So I'm looking for some very, very creative solution at the end of the course when you're submitting your project with me. So great. Thank you. Let's go ahead. So before I go to the design thinking straight away, I just want to discuss one more aspect of thinking. But here I'm not going to interact because I could see you still a lot of hesitation I could see in my students' mind. They are not even coming forward for interaction. Let me take a poll now. Is boredom good or bad? Then I will get someone of you on board to have an interaction. Go to the slido.com, put the code T403 and give your views. It will be anonymous, so now you can feel free to come in. Is boredom good or bad? Okay, I got first response saying bad. Okay, 3. Okay, 5 out of that, 67% are saying bad, 13% saying good, not true. Sorry, not sure. Okay, let's wait for some more inputs. So next time I will going for a poll because you are not, we can say, strong enough or brave enough to come forward with your inputs. Then I think it's good to have poll, but it's not a good thing for me as a student when you're working in a team, interacting with your client. You should be fair, good enough to interact, brave enough to share your views. Good, good. I got 36 inputs so far, and 56% of you are saying it's bad. 50%, 25% saying good, and many of you are not sure, so sure as well. We'll wait for next 1 minute so that I expect this poll to cross 100 responses. Let's hope. Please participate now. It's totally anonymous. Still, more than half of you are feeling that boredom is bad. I have 75, 76 responses so far. Feel free to make it to 100. It's hardly take a few seconds. Great, great. So even with reaching 80 responses, half of you are feeling that it's bad. 36% are saying good, and 14% are saying we are not sure about it. Okay, in the meantime, this responses cross 100. Let's have a chit chat. I want one of you from the bad group, not bad as a group, but bad as a choice you have taken up, who feels that boredom is bad. I want one of you to please come forward for interaction and share your views why you think so. Why do you think so? Yes, I want one of you from the group who go for boredom as bad. Feel free to come in. I just want to hear the argument, and both way are right. It's for you. If it is bad, it is right. If for you, if it is good, it is even right. And true for not sure is also equally right. I just want to understand why do you think so. So let's hear first from person in bad group, a group who is going for a bad option. May I know anybody from, okay, Swapna Dipta Mishra, who has opted that the boredom is bad, is coming for interaction. Go ahead.
Sir, I thought boredom is bad because when you are bored of doing something, then your brain will not come up with something new in that thing you are doing. Your brain is not coming up with something innovative. You are
Oh,
bored of it, so I
fantastic.
think so.
Fair enough. But I can challenge you after seeing one video. If we get time, maybe we may not in this class, maybe in face-to-face interaction on a cup of tea, I will interact with you one more time. Because it's something which quite obvious. Even I used to think before I gone for this training, I also feel the same way. Okay, but it's quite interesting that it may not be true always. It's fairly true what you're saying in many of the occasions, but it is equally true that it is not right for all the occasions. Let's hear from Aparna Patra. Go ahead, Aparna. Are you in the good group or bad group?
So bad.
Bad group. Go ahead and share your views. Why you think?
I think when you are doing some work and you get bored, so you cannot put the complete effort into it.
Okay. Okay. You are saying that when you are in the process of doing something and if you get bored, then your best will not come out. Okay. Fair enough. I don't want to go into an argument, but if you're doing something and if you get bored, means are you doing something which you want to do? That is something what I may ask. Let's hear from Kashish Rath. Go ahead, Kashish. Are you from good category or bad category? Please tell me first.
According to me, boredom is bad because boredom may leads to depression because that time our mind is blank and we have no what to do. That's all.
So people get depressed because of boredom. Do you think so? I'm just asking.
Yes, so because of boredom, there is no work to do. So
Okay,
people.
okay, fair enough. There is one of the way of thinking that, which is quite obvious. Good, Kashish. Good, fantastic. So just hold on your input. I'm going to challenge all this. And let's hear from Simanta. Anybody who is saying that it is good, let's hear from Simanta. I don't know. Okay, I'm just making Pooja to come first, then we'll go to Shrimanta. Pooja.
Yes, sir. So I feel boredom could be a good aspect as well, because during the time of boredom, it is then when we can actually put in our efforts to, self-analyze ourselves or think about something which we wouldn't do otherwise when we are in a state of constant thinking or doing something.
Pooja, I just want to ask, are you in my previous class? Because you have bang on with your answer.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. I can't agree more with you. Let's hear from Shrimanta. Go ahead.
Sir, according to me, boredom is sometimes good because it always pushes us to do hard work to what we achieve.
Fantastic. See, this is what I feel and which I strongly believe. Let's hear from, I think Sushant has already given input or not? No, it is not on this. Let's hear from Sushant first, then we'll go to Gyaneshwari.
So according to me, sir, boredom is good because, like, according as Pooja said earlier, that I agree with her also. And adding over it, for me, it's like when we are in our leisure time and when we feel bored, when sitting there, relaxing our mind, we get some new idea, we get creativity that makes later on it may help us in doing something good. So I guess boredom is good.
Fantastic, because I could see now 42 of you are saying good, and I am quite encouraged with this number, because if you appreciate boredom, I would expect something very innovative out of box from you people. Fantastic. Let's hear from who wants to come next, because I could say the hands has changed. Shrimanta was the last who came. Now it is Niveditha. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, I feel that.
Yeah. We could not get you properly. Can you please come again?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, yes, sir. I feel that boredom is really good, sir, because, sir, when we are feeling bored, at that time we are really lazy to do some task. And when we are feeling bored, at that time, like, kind of we try to do the things which are complicated in an easier manner. And I think in that way we may make our work very creative and think many things.
Fantastic. So now are you able to link these two things, science of thinking and boredom? We
Yes,
want
sir.
conscious mind to come into action. But if you are not bored enough, then conscious mind will not be forced to work. He will feel lazy and your gun will start keep on doing. Subconscious mind will keep you busy. You are not bored. Keep on doing, going to social media, chit-chatting with your friends, playing routine sports, maybe some musical thing and all. So you relate this with your science of thinking. Okay, let's hear from, I think, Tanmay Mandal. Go ahead, Tanmay.
Yes, sir. Boredom is really good because, sir, it makes our unconscious mind down and
subconscious mind.
Yes, sir. Subconscious mind go away and keeps the conscious mind thinking about, like.
Fantastic. It helps you to bring back the control over your conscious mind. Fantastic. So just to hear from, let me know last two inputs. Okay, so I have three hands raised up. Anurag, you want to come in? Go ahead, Anurag.
Yes, sir. I believe boredom can be bad or good. It completely depends upon the perspective.
How you use it. Yes.
And
It's a fairly balanced argument, Anurag, because it's you how best you use your boredom. And one of our friends has said that it may lead to depression. I will not totally disagree with that aspect as well, because if we could not utilize our boredom well, then it may lead to that. Okay?
Yes, sir, that's
but
exactly
it
what
doesn't
my point
always
is.
lead to that in a default manner.
Yes, sir, that's exactly my point is. If you see the dark side, you will only see the dark side, and if you see the lighter side, you will see the lighter side.
No, but what I feel, Anurag, is that you accept the dark side with the hope that there is a plus side, you can say brighter side as well. Don't ignore dark side. Acknowledging a dark side in a presence of brightness is what we should do.
And so I also believe in words of back in the day. I read about a poet, and he said, according to him, he says we should get out of our busy life sometimes and give a little time to ourselves to ponder upon things and pontificate upon things, so that we can self-realize what is going on with ourselves, and boredom, I think, is a really great medium.
Great, great, great. Fantastic. Let's hear from Sanya Deep.
So I think that boredom is actually good for humans, people in general, because the human mind is accustomed in such a way that it is not used to being idle. So when we are bored, I think it is that when we are bored, the mind is not doing anything. So it comes up with more ideas to engage itself. And I think that's the time when we get more of the innovative ideas than the normal generic ideas of normal times.
Exactly. Fantastic. I bless all of you with a very fantastic boredom, few minutes per day, so that something very innovative should come out. Fantastic. Let's hear from Swayam, and then last will be Shruti. Then I will show a video to our friends who feel that it is bad, and I would expect them, after seeing that video, they will appreciate the brighter side as well. I totally agree with the bad side. I'm not disagreeing to that. Swayam.
Sir, I kindly support Anurag. It depends upon the situation or moment. If I am an employee in a software company, the boredom is a bad thing for me. It will hamper my situation also for the company, because I am not productive in that moment. But if I am a technical student, I'm working on some projects or some skills, I'm getting bored. It may happen, a new idea will click in my mind. So
No, but I will again question this thing. If you are getting bored by doing something, so it is not bad for that company or bad for that particular activity. It is something, a disconnect between your interest and that particular activity. The problem, my only problem is that don't totally engage with a routine activity which is pleasant to you just by going to social media, interacting with friends, playing a very common sports. If you keep on doing that, then you will keep on engaging yourself in a routine activity and nothing innovative will come out. That learning part will be delayed, or we can say put on a back burner side. So it is always better to find some of, say, a few minutes or hours of boredom per day for yourself. It can be a very lonely activity for you. Nobody is coming there. I want to get bored because I want to plan for my future. I want to make a plan for my future. Here I want to be bored. If I keep on engaging with my friends are coming to my room, we are going to party, and then I don't have time to think over it. I am quite engaged in my day-to-day activity. Okay, so let's hear from Shruti, and then I will show you this very interesting video. Go ahead, Shruti.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would like to say that my answer is boredom is good. Good, because there's a quote that walk smarter rather than working harder. So I'm not saying working harder is bad or something, but sometimes when you're working continuously on some task, then you get bored. So that's when your conscious mind comes into your work, and it has us to create some new and innovative ideas. So
Fantastic. Very well sum up, Shruti. Fantastic. Thanks to all of you for participating in this interaction. So let's see this video, and we would like to appreciate that you can still find a brighter side in boredom. And I strongly believe that we all should have a few minutes to an hour of boredom every day, so that we can course correct our activity. We can also fix our priority, and we should also see which is really matters to us. See this video. And I will
Part of this
request
video
all
was
others
sponsored by
keep yourself in
LastPass.
mute mode.
Stick around to the end for a word from our sponsor. In a recent study, participants were placed in a room for between 6 and 15 minutes. They were given nothing except a button that they knew would shock them if they pressed it. They were asked to entertain themselves with their thoughts, but they could self-administer the shock if they so chose. So what happened? Well, 25% of women and 67% of men shocked themselves. This is despite the fact that they had previously told the experimenters that they would pay money to avoid the shock. Apparently, they'd rather experience physical pain than just be bored, to have nothing to keep them occupied but their thoughts.
But they are not alone. Around 95% of American adults report participating in some leisure activities over the past 24 hours, but only 17% say they spent any time at all just relaxing and thinking. because that apparently is boring, and being bored is unpleasant. So what is boredom? Well, contrary to popular belief, it's not when you have absolutely nothing to do. It's just when none of the options you have available to you appeal to you. Boredom is characterized by a lack of concentration, restlessness, but also feeling lethargic. It's really a state of being underwhelmed. And there are now more ways than ever to avoid boredom. With Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, not to mention my chronic news habit, waiting in line, sitting in a coffee shop, stopped at a traffic light, many people reach for their phones to stave off boredom. And nowhere is sacred. Do you ever just let yourself be bored?
No, I generally don't.
But are we losing anything by avoiding boredom? Well, scientific research says yes. And what we're losing is important. When you're bored, your mind wanders. That's only natural. The state of boredom is one where your attention is not focused on anything in particular. Researchers have shown this mind wandering is useful for creativity. They gave study participants a random boring task. The most boring one? Reading the phone book. Then they asked participants to be creative, generate as many ideas as they could for what you could do with a plastic cup. Those in the most boring read the phone book condition generated the most creative solutions compared to less bored controls. A major reason many researchers suspect that we experience boredom is because it gives you an indicator of your current state. I mean, if you find yourself feeling bored, you know something about that situation isn't working for you. Let me ask you this, when you're in class and you're a bit bored, do you ever just pull out your phone and have a look at stuff?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
So the paradox of boredom is that it makes you feel tired, sluggish, and just disinterested. But it may actually spur you to action. It may get you to make changes that would be positive for your life. And changes like getting this guy's legs out of my face. That would be perfect. In the absence of boredom, one would remain trapped in unfulfilling situations and miss out on many emotionally, cognitively, and socially rewarding experiences. Boredom is both a warning that we're not doing what we want to be doing and a push that motivates us to switch goals and projects. Studies have also shown that boredom may make you more altruistic. Perhaps the acute sense of aimlessness you experience when you're bored gets out of control and makes you question what you're doing with your life as a whole. But the silver lining is that it may trigger you to think about others and what you can do to help them. And that provides an immediate and concrete purpose to a life that might momentarily feel like it's lacking one. You know, studies designed to induce boredom have shown that more bored participants are more likely to donate to charity or to give blood. Can I ask what led you to donate blood today?
I had free time on my hands, just waiting till 2 hours, an hour and a half or so.
So apparently, the opportunity to do meaningful, even if unpleasant activities have more value if you're bored than if you're not. Similarly, this aimless state seems to cultivate thoughts about what you want to do with your life. To think of your life as a story and consider where you want it to go in the future. This is called autobiographical planning. When given tasks that only use a fraction of mental capacity, study participants frequently thought of the future and their plans for it. In this way, being bored is essential for goal setting. If your brain is always consumed with other stimuli, you'll rarely ponder the bigger picture and set long-term goals for yourself and consider how to achieve them. Does the phone get rid of your boredom?
Yeah, actually, thinking about it, it does.
So every time you're waiting for something, you have a decision to make, which seems like a tiny one. Pull out your phone for a few seconds or minutes, or just be bored. Experience only your thoughts. It seems like an insignificant decision. And if you don't give it much thought, the obvious action is to see what's new on your app of choice. And in making that decision, you are alleviating a moment of boredom. But you are also likely making yourself less creative, less altruistic, less likely to assess your current state, and less likely to set goals for your future. In short, you are the real-world example of someone shocking themselves to avoid the unpleasantness of boredom. except in your case, the pain goes much deeper to the very nature of who you are and who you will become. So think carefully before pressing that button.
Okay, so I think with the help of this video, I was able to communicate what I wish to. Some thumbs up if you like this video, and after this, I hope now you are going to see boredom in a very different perspective. Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you, all others. Fantastic, fantastic. So that is why I wish to be innovative, to be creative. You need to bore for a minute, for an hour. Because don't press this button. Don't engage yourself in routine activity and deprive yourself with some sort of out-of-box ideas or some very creative, um, innovative solution for the problem which you are seeing around you. So this is a course where I will push you to solve a problem. For that, you need to sit to get bored and try to think something which nobody has thought of, because they keep on pressing that shock button and they don't want to think. They want to engage themselves in the routine activity to avoid this boredom. Okay, so let's see with this. Let's summarize what traditional thinking and what design thinking mean. So traditional thinking says that what is the right answer. Design thinking says that what is the right question. We want to question, we want to put our conscious mind into action, we want to bore ourselves and try to develop some question so that we can understand the problem well. We don't talk more, we don't want to shock ourselves, engage ourselves with more talk so that nothing new should come out. This is the traditional way of thinking. Here, as a design thinker, we try to listen. We listen to the stakeholders, we listen to the people, listen to the user who's facing the problem so that we can understand it better. We don't talk about data, we talk about the stories. What brought them to this issue? We are interested in those stories behind that. We don't believe the data. At the same time, traditional thinking believes in event. Do this, do that, and after that you will get this. But design thinking says that while doing this, are we bringing some experience to the user? Are we bringing something good to our, we can say, end user who is going to use our solution? That is the reason why we don't talk about facts, we talk about feelings. And to have that feeling in you, we have to bring our conscious mind into action. We need not to keep on using our subconscious mind. Then subconscious mind will have all the traditional assumptions like this is what it happens. They don't challenge anything. They keep on believing in the status quo. But here in design thinking, we challenge the status quo, we challenge the assumption. So this is the way of thinking. So before I show you a small example, I just want to say how much time do I have with you? Shall I take some extra 10 minutes here in this class? Because I don't want to miss this video, because or I will skip this video and share it in the G space. You can see it there. Let me get a small feedback. Are you okay with showing 2 more videos here? Okay, great. So whatever I said regarding this, let's hear it from this professor.
Design thinking versus traditional thinking. You will get simple definitions. And watch to the end to fully understand the 3 differences between the two. Let's start straight away. Design thinking means thinking like a designer. It has gained momentum in business the last 15 years. Design thinking as an approach itself has been slowly evolving since the 1960s. It's a multidisciplinary, human-centered approach that creates new value for the future. Design thinking has at least 3 activities. The discovery phase, by listening and observing. The idea generation phase, with creative techniques leading you outside the box to new ideas. And the prototyping and testing phase, where new solutions are worked out in prototypes and are tested with users to see what works and what doesn't work, and then to pivot it into something even better. Traditional thinking is, according to the Managing Research Library, as you can see here, the thinking that has traditionally permeated the mindsets, models, decisions and analysis of Western management. Its basis is analytical thinking. In analytical thinking, we try to understand the whole, based on understanding parts of the total system and how the parts interact together and are assembled to form the whole. In traditional thinking, the central theme is that things are as they have always been, and the future will be likewise. This makes traditional thinking the thinking of the past, of proven ways, of in-the-box-like. As promised, I like to point out 3 big differences between design thinking and traditional thinking. Breaking down versus building up. So traditional thinking is an analytical process of breaking down ideas into elements, to analyze them, to investigate how they interact. In design thinking, it works the other way around, as the creative process is building up ideas into a solution or a concept to create future value. 2. Talking versus listening. In traditional thinking, we try to come up with a solution straight away, and we try to convince each other by talking. In design thinking, you dig into the problem first, trying to better understand it. It's like peeling an onion, as I call it simply. And we start listening to each other to understand the ideas without judgment. And we choose when we understand all the solutions in depth. 3. Facts versus perceptions. In traditional thinking, we focus on gathering facts and data to prove that it's the right idea or solution. In design thinking, we focus on the stories behind the data, on the user perception during what we call the customer journey, and on their user experience. Watch next this movie on how you can
So this is what the basic difference is. So before I close this class, I want to challenge this. Let's appreciate the power of design thinking through this small example, the slow elevator problem. So before I show this 2 minutes video and end this class, let me hear from any one of you. Have you heard of this slow elevator problem before? If yes, some thumbs up. Okay, we can go to Vivek. Vivek, go ahead, beta. You can share it. Raise a hand one more time, please. Vivek? Raise your hand one more time. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Actually, sir, I have not heard about this problem before.
You have not heard about it? Fantastic.
No,
So
sir.
this slow elevator problem will make you understand what the power of design thinking is. Okay, so let's appreciate this. And after this, we'll call it a day. We'll take a break for 2 minutes and I will share the attendance sheet for punching the attendance for the day.
Hello, thank you for stopping by. Today, I'm going to talk about something called the slow elevator problem. This is excerpted from an HBR article by Thomas Wedelsberg. Imagine this. You are the owner of an office building and your tenants are complaining about the elevator. It is slow and they have to wait a lot. Several tenants are threatening to break their lease if you don't fix the problem. When asked, most people quickly identify some solutions. Replace the lift, install a stronger motor, or perhaps upgrade the algorithm that runs the lift. These suggestions fall into what is called solution space, a cluster of solutions that share assumptions about what the problem is. In this case, that the elevator is slow. However, when the problem is presented to creative building managers, they suggest a much more elegant solution. Put up mirrors next to the elevator. This simple measure has proved wonderfully effective in reducing complaints because people tend to lose track of time when they have been given something utterly fascinating to look at, namely themselves. The mirror solution is particularly interesting because, in fact, it is not a solution to the stated problem. It doesn't make the elevator faster. Instead, it proposes a different understanding of the problem. Note that the initial framing of the problem is not necessarily wrong. Installing a new lift would probably work. The point of reframing is not to find the real problem, but rather to see if there is a better one to solve. Identifying a different aspect of the problem can sometimes deliver radical improvements and even spark solutions to problems that have seemed unsolvable for years. So here's a question for you. Are you solving the right problems? Do like, comment and share.
So that's why I'm telling. When you're taking up the project problem, me and my team will going to ask, are you solving the right problem? Is it the right problem? That is why when we go through the design thinking phases, it will help you to appreciate the right problem. Okay. So with this, let's call it a day. And by Saturday, I will be sharing the team details and all the recorded videos and all other information which has already been shared with you. And I will be putting the link in the WhatsApp group's description part so that anyone can access it quite easily. So with this, I will stop the sharing here and let me know if you like this class, some thumbs ups. Great, great. Okay, and fantastic. In the meantime, I will take a maximum 1.5 minute break. Thank you so much for this appreciation. You have made my day. So I'm taking 1.5 minute of break. I'm just making this Google form for you. And I'm just coming back with you. And I will be sharing this link in the chat box so that all of you can punch your attendance. Be with me for 1.5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, thank you for being with me. I'm just sharing the Google form in the chat box, and this will remain open till 4:30. So I will request all of you to punch your attendance within time. And if some of you are able to access it, give me some thumbs up once you're able to access it clearly. Let me know if you're able to access it properly, no issues. Thumbs up will be a feedback for me so that I can formally close this class. Thank you, Divya. One or two more thumbs ups. Divya, thank you for the feedback. Anyone else? Other than Divya? Thank you, Anshu. Okay, so now it's fine. Thank you so much. So once again, thank you for all this wonderful interaction we had in this class. Looking forward to meet you again. Just to confirm that next week I may be occupied for a whole week, so I may not be able to take the class on the routine time. So I may fix some extra time for your interaction. I would expect that kind of cooperation because there is a faculty development program coordinated by me lined up for next week. So I may not be available during daytime for that. So I may fix some late evening time for this interaction if possible. So I hope full-fledged cooperation from all of you. So thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a great day ahead. Let's meet next week with some new timing. And just to update, this form will remain closed, will remain open till 4:30. So I would request all of you to punch your attendance by that time. I wish you a great day ahead. Bye-bye.